All right, let's open the case file on one of the most notorious public enemies of the 1930s gangster era, George Machine Gun Kelly. But the story you think you know, the one about the hardened killer, that isn't the real story at all. The real story, well, that belongs to his victim.
You've probably heard this line before. It's legendary, right? The phrase supposedly shouted by a cornered Machine Gun Kelly, the one that supposedly gave FBI agents their famous nickname. It's a moment that's been cemented in crime history, painting this picture of a gangster facing his final, dramatic stand.
Well, the official record tells a very, very different story. This isn't a tale of a dramatic, gun-blazing showdown. No, it's a story of meticulous investigation, a revolutionary paper trail, and a victim who, against all odds, became the single most important informant in his own kidnapping case. So to get to the truth, we have to rewind. We're going back 2 months before that famous arrest, to Oklahoma City, where a quiet evening is about to take a very violent turn. Okay, picture this. We're at the home of Charles F. Urschel, a very wealthy oil tycoon. He and his wife are just playing bridge on their porch with another couple, the Jarretts. I mean, it's a perfectly normal Saturday night, especially for the middle of the Great Depression. And then, just like that, the calm is shattered. 2 armed men storm the porch, demanding to know one thing. Which of you is Urschel? When nobody speaks up, they make a snap decision. Fine, they say, we'll take both of them. And just like that, Urschel and his friend Walter Jarrett are forced into a car at gunpoint. A few miles outside the city, the kidnappers figure out who's who, and they let Jarrett go. But for Charles Urschel, a 9-day nightmare is just beginning. He's blindfolded, completely disoriented, and at the total mercy of his captors. And in that moment, he makes a critical choice. He will not be a passive victim. He starts gathering intelligence. And this is the really incredible part. Even though he's blindfolded, Urschel basically turns his other senses into forensic tools. He starts paying attention to everything. He notes the exact times he hears 2 different planes flying overhead each day. He memorizes the unique groan of a squeaky well, the metallic taste of the water they give him, the smells of the farm. He even makes a point to touch every surface he can, deliberately leaving his fingerprints as a trail. He is literally building the case against his captors from the inside. After 9 agonizing days, a massive $200,000 ransom is paid, and Urschel is finally released near Norman, Oklahoma. The first thing he does, he goes straight to the FBI and unloads this wealth of sensory data he's been so meticulously collecting. Now the real investigation can begin. And this is where it gets brilliant. The FBI takes these seemingly random observations and starts turning them into a precise location. Agents check flight schedules, and what do you know? They find an American Airways plane flew over a little town called Paradise, Texas at 9:45 a.m. and 5:45 p.m., the exact times Urschel remembered. They check weather records, which confirm a huge rainstorm hit that area on July 30th, the one day Urschel noted the morning plane never came. This wasn't just good detective work. They were literally turning a man's memory into a map. Acting on this incredible intelligence, agents move in and raid the farm. Turns out it belongs to the parents of Catherine Kelly, Machine Gun Kelly's wife. Right there, they arrest her mother and stepfather, the Shannons, along with a notorious gunman named Harvey Bailey, who was hiding out. And this just shows you the power of Urschel's memory. When they bring him to the farm, he confirms it's the right place. He identifies the squeaky well, the tin cup, and even counts the exact number of steps to the door, just as he had in captivity. That, along with the physical evidence, including some of the ransom money found on Bailey, completely seals the case on the hideout. So with Urschel safe and the hideout located, the investigation enters this new, groundbreaking phase. It's time to follow the money. $200,000. You have to remember, in 1933, during the Great Depression, this was an astronomical sum of money. But the kidnappers made one critical mistake. They took it. See, before the ransom was dropped, the FBI painstakingly recorded the serial number of every single $20 bill. This one simple act turned all that cash from a prize into a trap, creating an inescapable paper trail that was about to stretch all across the country. And as soon as those marked bills started appearing, a nationwide net began to tighten. This was a revolutionary tactic at the time, turning every bank and business into a potential tripwire. All of a sudden, you have accomplices in Minneapolis caught trying to exchange the money. Over in Denver, co-kidnapper Albert Bates is arrested with ransom bills right in his pocket. In Texas, a massive stash is found buried in a cotton patch. Every single time someone tried to spend the money, it acted like a beacon, leading agents right to another conspirator. So now, leads from the farm raid, the money trail, and all the interrogations, they're all starting to point to one place. George and Catherine Kelly, now fugitives and public enemies #1, have been tracked to a small bungalow in Memphis, Tennessee. In the pre-dawn darkness, a team of federal agents and local Memphis police officers move in. They've been told Kelly is armed and dangerous, maybe the most feared man in America. They are prepared for a firefight against a hardened killer. But that big, dramatic showdown, it never happened. According to official reports, agents found the door unlocked. They just walked in, and they caught Kelly completely by surprise without his machine gun. He was in a corner with his hands up. The feared public enemy surrendered without a word. That famous G-Man quote was pretty much a media invention. The closest thing in the record is an agent who recalled Catherine Kelly muttering something about the G-Men after her arrest. The legend was just a much better story than the truth. The legal fallout was incredibly swift and decisive. The Kellys were sentenced to life, and they became the first major convictions under the new Federal Kidnapping Act, also known as the Lindbergh Law. In total, more than 20 people were convicted for their roles. This case was a massive victory for J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. It really established the Bureau as a dominant force in national law enforcement. And here is the final irony. For all the machine gun branding, a persona largely fabricated by his wife, Catherine, to make him seem more formidable, Kelly's actual criminal career was pretty unremarkable. His biggest and last crime wasn't solved by outgunning him, but by the superior intelligence of his victim. Ultimately, the legend of Machine Gun Kelly is a shoot-'em-up gangster fantasy. But the case file of the Urschel kidnapping tells a much more compelling true story. One where the sharp mind of a victim, the meticulous work of investigators, and a paper trail of marked bills proved far more powerful than any public enemy with a machine gun.